And also another thing to look at is when you look at the shape of this thing here, so you can bring it all the way into here if you have to, because that is already, or you move the tip over. Anyhow, that I always try to keep track of that because it can help you as far as getting extra flake in an area that you might not think you had. With a copper tool, that abrasion is important, and it is important with any tool. So, but copper, you normally don't over abrade. Still have one up here. Anyhow, that basically, it just needs to isolate several and reflake them, which takes a lot more time than this part of it did. So we'll probably quit here and leave it as a blade. Cool. I don't know if I showed much on that. There's the whole mess I created. So that's it. Yeah. Okay, this one here, since we have a piece here that has a lot of lines running in through there and in through here, and you can see it's like offset. So these are a problem when it comes to napping it, because you start running flakes in there, and when you start flaking the end, it comes up here to this point where this line is, and it'll snap it because the shock cannot continue on through it. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So the best way to take care of that one, and also since it's slabbed on both sides, is to take flakes off into that, at least part ways into this rock, so that you have some kind of a brace. All those ridges are little braces. When it's flat, you have no braces. So we'll start by, and especially with lines that run across it like this, and you're going to be flaking that way. So those are not as difficult as when they're one run right up the middle where you have to flake into it, and it'll give you a dead stop. So this should work, but does not mean it will. And you can see by those flakes it still wants to come along just the very edge of that and not. So that is going to be a problem. You can see it's opening up already. So that part there on this one is going to take some.
What would you say your chance of success at this piece would be, given your skill?
Probably 50% maybe, because when you get in here, I'm certain that it'll be more solid than it is out here on the edge, because you can see right there was the edge layer. So this edge for maybe half an inch or so will not be solid. That's usually my experience. Now that doesn't, and a lot of times I've napped them and they're not solid all the way through. So just want to takes a lot of preparation on this one, especially because it is what it is. I want to make sure that I do not snap this one. The other thing is to start on both sides and start getting some flakes across the thing so that you do not snap it, so it has some bracing in there, like the little flakes starting to come in here. But I need to work these ends, and I don't want to go into that much work for right now, so we'll lay this one down and get a different one. And here's one that has one basically flat side and got a big ridge here. So the way to deal with the ridges, since that has one there, eliminate that one by taking a couple of flakes off of there. Then this one, since it's got just abraded, and see if we can, I don't like the angle, so I just take that 45-degree angle off on the, call it on the back side. Now this flake should run down through there, which it did. Took some of it out, not all of it, but a lot of it. But those kind of problems, when you have enough thickness to work with, you can pretty easy do them. And we got one here. It's a shorter one, more difficult one, but I have several angles to it. So this is the first one. Well, that didn't do much, so we'll try it again. And I actually just basically crushed it, is what had happened. Then we got one here yet to run that off. They're not always do they work, but it's not that I won't get a point out of it. It's just a matter of beefing up the next one before it will not do that. And especially when you have a cut in underneath like that, the thing you have to do is get way up on top of it to keep it from, and I'm going to try to hit on top of that instead of right on it. So there it goes. But it also has a little line here, and that may have had something to do with it, but mostly it didn't. It just probably was the flint now. I'll take another one to clean it up. Anyhow, now you got something to work with there. So we'll do this one here. You know, a lot of them with a lot of cortex on it. This is not a very big cortex, but that stuff is soft and spongy. So in order to make those work, you have to abrade them more than your flint, because it needs to be stiffened up, because it'll just crush. As you can see, the flake, when you abrade them, it'll work. And especially on nodular flints where they have a lot of cortex, it'll be a lot. And then this has a problem here, and it's just a bunch of, it takes a lot of little flakes. You can see it's got a cut, comes in all kind of, it just completely fell off. And that pretty much takes care of that one, so we're done with that too, I guess, till we come up with a new one.